Welcome back to Choices. My name is Cameron Moffat and I'm your host tonight. Tonight actually marks a special event in that Choices is now its own show, and we'll be having a full episode. So we'd like to thank in advance the crew and all the support we've gotten from Shaw in helping us become its own standalone show. We've been speaking for the last year of different types of medicine and different ways of treating the body and different alternative choices we have here in the Greater Victoria area. And when I've spoken about medicine, quite often many people think of medicine as being pharmaceutical based and surgical based. And we've had a couple of practitioners on the show lately that have been offering an alternative to the physical approach, energetic approach. And if anybody in the audience has ever dealt with any homeopathic remedies, you would have dealt with a type of medicine typically called energetic medicine. And tonight we have another example of this type of medicine in practice. So I'd like to introduce Catherine Lothar. Catherine is a certified biomagnetism therapist, and she's going to be discussing and showing us on this episode how magnets can have a direct effect on the body. Now, science has known for many decades what some of the ancient traditions have been teaching now for millennia, that we are basically vibrational energy. And vibrational energy all has a polarity, and of course magnets also have a polarity, and so there's a very good therapeutic use of magnets on helping the body realign its energetic field. And tonight we're going to see an example of that. So thank you, Catherine, for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Wonderful. Yeah. So biomagnetism, how did you initially get involved in this?
At the time I was living in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I was sick with salmonella and I'd taken a round of antibiotics and I got reinfected, or it came back, or it didn't get rid of it a couple weeks later. I didn't want to do antibiotics again because I know that they do kill the good acidophilus bacteria in your flora that you need to have that to fight off the bacteria. And a friend recommended me to a biomagnetism therapist. I didn't know anything about it, but into natural therapy myself, I decided to go for it, and I'm very happy I did because I do believe in synchronicity, and I don't think I would be here today if I hadn't done that.
So it was that effective for you?
What happened was, it was quite astounding actually. The salmonella disappeared, and not only that, I had rheumatoid arthritis in my fingers, and the symptoms completely disappeared. As you can see, my fingers do have a little knobs on them, but they were swollen, they were very crooked, and obviously it was progressing over the years. So the fingers have actually straightened out, and there's no more pain, and that was about 8 or 9 years ago.
Wow. And then you went on to train?
Yes, I did. I was very thrilled with this therapy and what it did for me. I'm a healthy person, but you know, there's other people that have a lot of their health issues, and I thought if I can help them. At the same time, I was doing universal energy healing, so I was doing a lot of healing work, so I went on to train with Dr. Goyce Duran, who is the founder and director of this medicine.
Okay, that training was here in Victoria?
It was in Mexico City.
In Mexico City, interesting. So you've had quite a journey.
Yes, yes.
So can you describe for the audience how magnets actually affect the body?
Yes, well, actually they have a duality. Dr. Goyce Duran discovered that there is a duality in the universe, positive, negative, day and night, yin and yang, Chinese medicine. He discovered that through biomagnetism, there exists a symbiosis, a relationship with virus and bacteria or fungus and parasites. And by putting there's different pH, of course, in the system. So when there's an imbalance in the pH, putting the magnets on of different polarities, they cancel out each other. The negative and positive charge, north and south pole magnets, do cancel out the charge, so that balance the pH in the system, and pathogens die off. They can't live in a neutral pH.
So when you say the system, you mean the internal fluids in the body?
Exactly,
exactly. And of course, Western medicine is now recognizing that pH is very important for the body.
Exactly.
Quite often in my practice, I suggest lemon water in the morning as a way of starting off a proper pH right away in the morning, as opposed to coffee.
Exactly.
Which does not start off a good pH in the body.
Very true, very true.
So you'll be showing us later on in the demonstration then the application of these two magnets.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Now, who typically do you see in your practice coming in for treatment?
I see a myriad of different people. I see a lot of people with skin issues, eczema, psoriasis, fungus. It's very fascinating to me because there can be a bacteria and a virus and a fungus working together. Skin issues are usually topical. They want to put cream on, but it's an internal pH issue again.
Right.
So I've helped a lot of people with skin issues. Arthritis, that's another thing I've helped people with a lot.
Now, both rheumatoid and osteoarthritis? Or one?
We do have a pair for osteoporosis and osteoarthritis, but the most results I have is with rheumatoid arthritis, because a lot of it, according to this theory, and this medicine, is caused from bacteria and viruses.
Okay. Wonderful. And typically, how often would somebody need, I know it's a hard question to answer, but for the audience, how often on average would they need to see you to see results?
I always recommend 2 sessions because what happens with the first session is Dr. Coyce calls it the window effect. When we're balancing the pH, pathogens are getting more intelligent and they do hide out.
Right.
So they kind of pop out the second session, other ones.
Okay.
We do that and also to check on how they're doing.
Okay.
But everyone's different. Everyone's body is different, but usually 2 to 3 sessions. If it's diabetes or something complex, then it's, of course, more sessions.
Sure, sure. And in your practice, have you heard anybody reporting back to you, not necessarily ill effects, but a healing effect? What can people expect?
Yes, there is a small percentage of people that do have what we call the healing crisis. And all it is the toxins coming out of the body. It doesn't last for very long. It might be a few hours, it might be a few days, 3 days maximum. It's just a feeling of a bit of fatigue. Most people feel much better.
Right.
But because it's a natural medicine, people are accustomed to taking medicine for symptoms, so they don't have symptoms. But this is detoxing the body, so it's like a mild detox.
I had a virus in my stomach, gallbladder, and liver. I think I was mentioning to you before the show.
Right.
And I went and got a form of bioenergetic scanning done and treatment done. And I felt about 4 days later, I felt pretty rough.
Right.
And I was actually happy about that. I knew then that the virus had been killed off and my body was now flushing it out. And within a week, I felt absolutely fine.
Right.
But for me, that was a positive effect.
It is. And I tell people, like you say, drink lots of water.
Right.
Because that's going to bring the toxins out of the body. Some people that get, they say, oh, I can't drink water because it bloats me, but that's all the reason to drink more water, because what's happening, there's toxins in their system. And toxins also keep fat in the system, so they should drink more water to get it out. And obviously there's something going on there with the body if it's holding. How
long is your first session? Do your first sessions and second sessions differ at all, or are they the same?
In the first session, of course, I do a history, so that takes about 15-20 minutes. And so it takes about 1 hour and 15 minutes the first session, and consecutive sessions are usually about an hour.
About an hour, okay. And would you recommend people after your sessions hop up and get back to daily life, or is it better to go home and lay down? Or
it all depends. People that don't have a lot of issues, they can certainly go back to work. And most people actually say they feel better. Sometimes they have more clarity, better stomach digestion. Okay. So it all depends on what they have, but most people feel better.
Okay. Now, is there the person that you would not work on? Is there a type of condition, or?
The only condition that we don't work on is someone that has had or is going to have chemotherapy. That's all.
Now, why is that?
They're opposite therapies. The chemo actually destroys the cells, and the biomagnetism orders the cells. Okay. So it rejuvenates them. So
now what about post-chemo administration? Would the biomagnetism then help with the pH balancing it, or was there a period there where you'd wait? We
wait probably 5 to 10 years.
5 to 10 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that for the body to completely rid itself of all?
It's because the chemo is a toxin, it stays in the body.
Right.
So we just don't do that.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Anything in the way of, say, mental illnesses? If there was depression, or if there was schizophrenia, or bipolar?
Yeah, we check for, in fact, I had 2 clients that had bipolar symptoms. They had 2 or 3 sessions, and their symptoms disappeared because they were just layers of pathogens.
Okay, so the bipolarism was actually, the parasites were masking.
Exactly.
They were mimicking, I should say,
exactly.
bipolarism.
And we do have, in level 2, there's a lot of psycho-emotional pairs.
Okay. Are you working on those presently, or is that to be trained yet?
No, that I've done level 2 also.
You've done level 2 as well, so you'd be equipped to work on that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So, folks, that's certainly an alternative right now to typically what is being handed out quite a bit right now in the way of antidepressants. This might be an alternative form.
Exactly.
Or if somebody was on antidepressants, would you still do work with them?
I would.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's of course their choice, but I would.
With the idea perhaps of working with their doctor, then at that point of coming off of the medication.
Sure.
Okay, wonderful. So you're going to do a bit of a demo on myself today. Now, just so the audience knows, Catherine and I met before the show. Catherine did a bit of an assessment on me, found some things that were wrong or that needed a little bit of tweaking, and so that's where we're going to begin the demo tonight. Maybe explain to the audience before we get going what it is they're going to be looking at. So you had been really focusing on my leg length.
Right.
Maybe you can explain why that is.
Right. What we do is we start in Canada, North America with the negative, which is the North Magnet. In South America, we do it with the positive, which is the South Pole. And we scan the body, and we're looking for an imbalance. It's actually the leg shrinks, but it's actually the side of the body, the one hemisphere of the body will shrink. Because we're 75 to 80% water and we're electric beings, we have electricity in our bodies, I'm basically talking to your body. I do it right now without the magnets. With the demo, I'll do both to show you. And when we're learning, we use the magnets to scan. And now that I'm doing, past level 2, I just use my mind, so I'm talking to the body. And when I come to any kind of imbalance in the organ, we check about 365 points in the body, roughly based on the acupressure points. And when there's an imbalance, the body will tell me the left or the right side will shrink.
That actually causes then the leg to
shrink,
shorten
to shorten about an inch or so. And then I will put the opposite magnet on the organ that Dr. Goyce discovered has a symbiosis, a relationship. So there's going to be a bacteria, or virus, parasite, or fungus hiding out, or we also check glandular dysfunctions. I said also emotional traumas. We check for allergies, toxins, any kind of imbalance there.
Wonderful. The second point that you assessed on me, I could really feel my left leg, I believe it was, pull up.
Right.
And you noticed quite a bit of a difference in the heel length. A lot of times I see in my practice people with leg length differences, and they're told that that's pretty much, often that's what they have. Now I will adjust and open up the tissue, but I was fascinated by how fast my body changed with you applying the magnets. I had never seen that before, the body changed that quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so that gives you a little bit of a preamble as to what you'll be seeing in a moment in the demo. We're going to break now and have your table set up, and then you can show us your stuff.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're back in just a moment. Welcome back. We've obviously changed the set now, and Catherine's going to give a demo on me. As I mentioned earlier, Catherine and I had done a bit of a pre-show assessment, so she's going to go over some of the points with you that she found on me, and then demonstrate on how she would go about treating those points. So Catherine, I'm going to leave it in your hands, and I'm going to lay down.
Great. Okay. What I wanted to explain was this is just a short demo. In every session, we scan the entire body. There's approximately 365 points that we are scanning, so it takes me about 25 minutes to scan the whole body. So actually, I'm just doing a very short demo right now to show you. In the beginning, we look at the feet, and they are even. Okay. Quite a few people we've discovered have one leg shorter than the other to start with. This could be structural, they could have been born with it, it could be from surgery, it could be from a fall. This is called a special pair, and we can adjust that by using a pair of magnets, and we have quite a lot of success with it, depending what it's from, what the cause is. Okay, but in this case, Cameron's feet are normal, so I'm going to start at the top of the head, and as I mentioned before, I use the, I don't have to use the magnets to scan, I just use my mind, but I'm going to show you for the demonstration how it works. Okay, so we're going to start up at the top. Okay, we'll start, we have to do the left and the right side of the body. We're using the black magnet, which is North America, right? So we're checking the pineal, which is the center of the head, the pineal. So there's nothing there. Cameron, would you mind just doing to the other side, putting the magnet at the middle of right by the top of the head?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, the top of the head, certainly.
Yeah. And there's nothing there. Okay. Great. So we just scan. This is how we scan. And we're going to the parietal bone now. Okay, and there's nothing there. Can you, on the other side, Cameron, please?
Onto the same bone?
Yeah, same bone on the other side. Nothing there. Okay. And great, we're going to do, this is very interesting. This is the supraciliary, okay? And there's nothing there. I just want to explain these 2 points. They're very interesting. This is the intraciliary. Okay, nothing there, but I want to explain these because when I grew up, we didn't have this, the laws that we have now against bullying. This is a special pair, both of these locations here, this location here and the back of the head here, the base of the skull. It deals with bullying and people that have had trauma in their life. So that's one of the things we check for is psycho-emotional problems and trauma. And it's very interesting, I find, because I have found it in people that have had it since childhood. And it's cells have a memory and they carry it around in their cells, and it's somehow affects their lives. They've had a trauma, they've had an injury, maybe it's their parents, maybe it's been a teacher that has either insulted them or something to that effect. And it's very interesting how that works out. So that's one of them, but Cameron's okay, he doesn't have it. It's just, I wanted to bring that up because it's a great thing now that we can recognize that. Okay, so I'm going to go over to the eyebrow on that side. And the other side.
Now I think this was this one of the sides that was positive last treatment?
No, that's the eyebrow, that's different.
Okay.
And now we'll do the cranial, which is right in the center here. Yeah, on each side. Oops. No, and the other side. Cranial. And now the nasal sinus.
You want the right or the left?
Actually, we'll do frontal sinus first, yeah. Even though it's very close to the same area, I'm talking to your body. So I'm saying instead of the eyebrow, I'm saying nasal or frontal sinus. And this is, here it's shrunk. So by a good 1.5 inches, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it's a good 1.5 inches there. So this is an imbalance here. So we
actually feel that now, Catherine.
You can feel
it.
I can feel it too. That's great. Okay. So there's this is a viral imbalance here that we found before. If you can just hold that, that's great.
Okay.
And I put the opposite magnet to balance that. Okay. Oops. Your finger there. And we just put that there.
Okay.
Okay. Now we'll do the. We need obviously another magnet here. So we'll try the cheek. If you can just hold that there for me. The cheek, nothing there. And the opposite cheek, nothing there. And the nasal sinus will be just below where it is now. You can, you can actually put it right there. We have another imbalance here. So you can see that the shoes are about 1 inch, 1.5 inches shorter on this side. So that's another viral imbalance there in the sinus area. Okay, so we put the opposite one here. And sorry about that, you won't be able to see.
No problem.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so we keep going. Okay, so now we're going to check the stomach area. I'm going to skip down here. And there's another imbalance here. If you can see, that's the stomach area.
So, Catherine, when you put the opposite magnet on,
My legs balancing back out
They
again?
balance out. So that's the affirmative answer to that I have the magnets in the correct place.
Okay.
If I don't have the magnets in the correct place, the body will not even out. So then I have to look for the correct place. For example, when we're doing the liver is a large organ, so it has to be in the right place, or the stomach, right?
So these two magnets now, the opposite magnets, are actually treating the viral infection?
They are.
How long typically would you leave the magnets on for?
That's a good question. Very good question, because with places like Ecuador that are very close to the equator, it's only about 3.5 minutes you have to leave the magnets on. North America, of course, we're further away, so I leave the magnets on here for about 25 minutes. Okay?
Can you explain the difference? Why?
Because of the magnetic field.
Being
It's very
stronger
strong
around.
by the equator, and we're further away from it.
Okay.
Okay?
Another reason to live in the tropics.
Another reason. It's only 3.5 minutes to need them on. That's right. Okay. And the reason being is that pathogens cannot live in a neutral pH environment. Okay. Okay. So stomach. So we'll check the stomach. Of course, the stomach, there's several areas we have to check. There's stomach here. And it's very interesting because one microorganism can have several symptoms. And so symptoms are very misleading. We don't go by symptoms at all. So there we go. So it's not this would be a dysfunction in the stomach. People think, oh, well, I've got an upset stomach. It could be anything, but in this case, it's not. The dysfunction just means it's not working properly. That also can be corrected. So I'm going to check the adrenal glands. I'm just going to roll you over a little bit. Very important gland. That affects the chronic fatigue, usually for people. Okay, so it's not evening out. So it's not the adrenal glands. And okay, so I'm just looking for the proper pair here. Okay, and the sacroiliac. I'm going to check the sacroiliac also. Okay, and see if that's it. Okay, it's not evening out still, so it's not the sacroiliac. Okay, and the next I'm going to check is pylorus, which is right about here. Before I even sit down, I can see that the feet are even. Okay.
So the pylorus is the end of the stomach before.
That's right. The pylorus at the end of the stomach, which there can be lots going on there too. So this is a bacterial imbalance most likely, and the feet are back to normal. Okay. So I'll just show you real quickly that I'm going to take these off, and I can show you. Of course, normally I would keep these on about 25 minutes. I can show you that I do it with my mind now. So if we do the frontal sinus, you can see that and I'm pulling on his leg, but it still is not straightening out. And we can do nasal sinus. Again, it's shrinking here. And if I do stomach, the stomach, I'm pulling on his leg, but it says stomach, there's an imbalance there. After I finish the 25 minutes, I recheck, and the legs do not shrink, meaning his body has been balanced now. The other therapy I do is I do a lot of distant therapy, which is exactly the same way. I just need a photograph of the person. I need a body as an antenna, and it works exactly the same way. The intention is very strong to heal, and it's like radio waves. They travel, and it works. It works very well.
So after 25 minutes then, you're pretty comfortable then to say that the pathogen would have been eradicated?
They do die off. They do.
Die off, and that's where the person then will start to feel a little bit of a day or two later,
exactly.
a bit of a healing crisis perhaps.
Exactly.
Now, what's the chances of those pathogens coming back?
It depends. I always ask people, do they have pets? Do they have dogs, cats? Do they work on a farm? Some people have pesticides in their system from working in the fields, in the orchards.
Something just keeps challenging the body.
Exactly. Some people have toxins in their nose and imbalance from like carvers with dust, or teachers that used to work with chalk, the dust.
Wonderful.
So balancing those out, they shouldn't come back.
Right.
The only reason they would if there's a reinfection somewhere. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Or spouses. Sometimes they have the same things, but that's why I like to check
This
both.
has been very fascinating.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming back or coming on the show, and perhaps in a year or so we'll have you back
Great.
and
Love
see how
to.
your training's progressing. Well, we've run out of time, so Catherine,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
very
having
much
me.
for watching, folks. Hopefully this gives you an alternative approach to your health. On behalf of myself and the crew here at Choices, we'd like to thank you for watching our first inaugural full-length episode. Next episode, we'll be having Ann Goodman on speaking about emotional eating patterns and how she helps people deal with the cravings of emotional eating and a more holistic approach to sensible and healthy eating patterns. So thank you very much for watching, and take care and have yourself a very healthy month. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.